What is going on, everyone? Welcome to your 74th Java tutorial, and in this tutorial we're going to be going over something called mouse event handling. Now, we already went over stuff like list and what happens or what we want the program to do if the user clicks a button or something, but we didn't go over what they would do if they press the mouse or click it, or if they drag the mouse. In this program we can respond to mouse events that the user does, just like I just talked about. Like if they click it, or if they move it and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and get started, and then once I'm done with this program, you'll understand how to respond to users' mouse events. So the first thing we need to do is import a bunch of stuff. As you can see, I got rid of everything from my other tutorial. So let's go ahead and import java.awt. Let's go ahead and just import all of them. And this is going to import stuff like colors, border layouts, and stuff like that. Next, we want to import java.awt.event in all of those, and these are pretty much our mouse events. And lastly, what we want to import is import javax.swing.all of those. So now we got all the imports we need, I believe. If not, we'll import them later, but I'm pretty sure that's all. So after this, let's just go ahead and get rid of that ticker and make two variables. We're going to have two things in our window. So we're going to have a private variable jpanel, and actually that needs to be jpanel, and just name this like mouse. There we go. I'll get it eventually. Mouse panel, and this is gonna pretty much be the area where you can click and move your cursor around. So it's pretty much just going to be a big white box. And we're going to have another variable to hold another piece of our window, and that's JLabel, and just set this equal to status bar. So here's what our window is going to look. Our window is going to look like. It's going to have a big empty space, and that's going to be called the mouse panel. And this is where we can test out all our mouse events like click, drag, release. And we're going to have a status bar at the bottom, and when we click, we want the status bar to say you clicked. When we drag, we want to have the status bar say you are dragging. But we got to program all that, so let's go ahead and get to it. So after we got our two variables, we can go ahead and make our constructor, which is pretty much going to construct our window. So name it public, whatever you name your class. I name mine GUI. It doesn't take any parameters because it's constructor. I mean, come on, seriously. We're not going to pass any constructors or parameters into it. And then we did super to, of course, change the title of it, because that is the constructor of the super class. JFrame changes the title. In other words, just put super and put title, whatever you want. Now we pretty much got a window with a title bar on it. Not very exciting. So let's go ahead and change that mouse panel and actually make it something. And we will set this equal to new jpanel. So now we actually set it equal to something, so we can use it now. So now let's do something else with it, something a little more exciting. Take that mouse panel and let's go ahead and set the background color using the built-in method set background. And nope, you don't put color. And as the arguments, it takes a color. So go ahead and put color white. So we're going to put this at white default, but don't worry, we're going to be changing it to something more exciting later on. And the last thing we need to do is, of course, add this to the screen. So go ahead and add mouse panel, but we don't want to do that. If you can notice, we didn't have a flow layout like we did last time. So for this layout, go ahead and put border layout dot center. And this is just going to make it appear in the center of the screen and fill up all the empty space. And we'll be going over layouts later on, so you guys probably don't know what this means yet, but trust me, you will in a little bit. So now we have on our window, which is this, we have a title, which is the title bar, and we have pretty much a background. Not very exciting. So let's go ahead and add that status bar we talked about right here. So go ahead and type in status bar. And we will set this, I spelled that right, it always underlines it like I spelled it wrong or something. And we will set this equal to new JLabel. Remember, don't get this confused, JPanel, JLabel. Your status bar is JLabel. And just set it to and just put default because that's what's going to happen by default. So now we have a status bar that says default by default. How clever is that? So now let's just go ahead and add it to the screen. We'll be changing it later with the mouse events, but for now we just want to add it to the screen. Get it done with. Status bar, and for this, border layout south. And this means, for real simply, it's going to appear at the bottom of the screen. So it's a little more than that when you learn about layouts, but for now, trust me, just means middle of the screen, fill up on all the empty space, appear at the bottom of the screen. Simple enough. And if you couldn't guess, it has north, south, east, west, and center. So anyways, let's talk about something a little more useful. In order to use our mouse events like mouse clicked, mouse pressed, we need to make a new handling class to handle these events. So I'm gonna make a class declaration right now, even though we didn't make the class yet. So in the future, we're gonna make a class called handler class, and I'm gonna make my object called like handler something easy, and of course we're gonna set it equal to new handler class. Gotta make sure I don't type anything wrong there. So now, there we go. Make sure they're spelled the same. That's how I check. If you're using Eclipse, and if you like click one thing, it'll highlight everything else. I mean, just a neat little tip. Because if you're like, alright, why am I getting an error in here and not here? Just click it once. Oh, it's not highlighted. They're spelled different. Bam. So anyways, what we want to do is we're going to add 2 listeners because we're going to be implementing from 2 different classes. There are 2 different types of ways, or there are pretty much 2 different types of mouse events. The first set of mouse events is like anything that you can do when the mouse is still, and these include press, clicked, release, and there are 2 other ones that are kind of funky called entered and exit, which is enter the space and exit the space. But the next class we're going to implement from is what you can do while the mouse is moving. And you can of course move the mouse, or if you hold down the mouse, it's called dragging the mouse. So let's go ahead and add 2 listeners right here. I sound like what's that guy from politics? Yeah, whatever he is. That's what I just sounded like. So mouse panel dot add mouse listener. How easy is that? Handler. So of course add mouse listener waits and it takes an object as its parameter, so that's why we passed in handler. And do it again. Mouse panel dot add what's this called? Mouse motion listener, and of course this takes handler too. So now we're getting an error here because we didn't build the class yet, which we're going to do in the next tutorial. But now let me go over this real quick. We imported everything we need because we needed some stuff. We extended JFrame, which allowed us to build windows. We made 2 things in our windows, a panel and a status bar. Then we set the title of our window, and then we pretty much just set the color or the background, added it to the window. We made a status bar, added that to the window at the bottom, and then we made this new handler class with the object handler. And we needed to make an object because these 2 built-in methods that wait for mouse events, they take an object as their parameters. So in the next tutorial, we're actually going to be going over some of these mouse events, such as what happens when you click the mouse, and we're going to be adding some functionality to it. And if we have time, we'll probably run it, but we might not. So thank you guys for watching now. Cannot wait to build this next class in the next tutorial. So again, thank you. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.